Greetings, my beautiful people. This is Trading Brigade here again with another video for you, okay? And I did the thumbnail for this video and I decided to say, okay, it's going to be called Decoding the OCGA. But then, truth be told, to be honest with you all, when I decided to do this video, I realized that, I have a few recordings on my computer that I could actually use without making a new video. So I'm introducing you to a recording that was done a few months ago as we are looking into decoding the OCGA in relation to the term person and its use in reference to the general definition in the general provision, the definition of persons in Title 40, the definition of person in Title 16, right? I hope you enjoy this piece and I appreciate your comments below. Maybe you can share, you can hit a like or a thumbs down if that's the case, right? But make your intention known. Appreciate you as we dive straight into it. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing?
Good, good. I know I'm good, especially, with you leading about the persons, the articulations of a person.
Huh? Say it again.
I said I'm great. I said especially with you leading on the correct breakdown of a person. hmm
I might have walked through a little bit with you already, right?
Yes. Yep, yep.
Uh is the brother on to sister?
I'm trying to get him on now. He still hasn't got home yet. He's still
Okay,
en
okay.
route to the house. So yeah. So he should be joining. I'm trying to get him on now.
No worries.
Okay.
It's only us. So unless you're in a hurry right now.
Oh no. I'm
But
I'm okay, I'm good to go. I'm just trying to make sure he see it to get on the Zoom. That's all.
yeah, I think I messed up on the link. I'm really not sure what happened, but it's not the first time either.
Okay.
All right. And of course, I want to thank you for coming because guess what? I know it could have been somewhere else. That's for
Trust
sure. It could have been
it's
somewhere else.
it's been a long day. I be texting you like we en route to work, and that's like at 5 in the morning. So I'm good. I'm home and I'm ready to learn.
Have you ever read Georgia, any part of Georgia statute? Like what sections have you read? Any one of you guys?
I'm really new to all of this, to be
I was
honest.
just about to say, I promise you, prior to you being led in my pathway, I did not, the only thing that I studied was the Bill of Rights of Georgia. So I can say that I've read that, but like the statues, king, that's all you, brother. So I'm just excited to just be exposed to this side because it's a whole different lane, but you know, uh, so just what you've taught me. That's all. That's all.
Okay, that's still good. That's still good. That's still good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, right? So I normally like searching from this website, Justia US Law. I know you have Find Law, FINDLAW. What is it? Find Law is not lawyer, I'm sorry. And it's LAW. Find Law, right? Yeah, here. But it's not even for attorneys, but You can do you know what I'm talking. You could go and search the statute. Like, say for example, let me do it in the Google shop in Google. Show you exactly what I'm talking. If I go here, I say uh OCGA TIT Title 44 FIND find law. So it takes me here. Find law. Notice this just here right here. I'm just sharing that
Yeah.
it's not just
That's
here alone that you can go, but it will be the same thing
mm,
that you're going to see. You might, okay, look at this. OCGA Title 44. If I should go Title 44 property, then I go over to my favorite, right? Title 44 deals with property.
Yeah.
General provisions is the same thing that you're seeing here. Just the layout might be a little bit different. You go inside general provision, it's the same thing. But look inside here. It's detailed, it's defined, it's telling you what the title is.
Yeah.
Over here, it's not telling you. You get what I'm saying? So I prefer find law, or another one is case text. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just information.
Yeah. Like case.
Anyway,
Mhm.
yeah. So I mean, I'm dealing with Georgia. So if I should go back here, it says you could go to older version, right? Newest version or the latest 2023 before another revision. Now, just looking through all the titles, general provision, title 1, title 2 is agriculture, alcoholic beverages, right? Animals, appeals and errors, title 5, aviation, title 7, banking, title 8, building and housing, title 9 is civil practice, the courts, not the courts, but civil practice inside these venues.
Mm-hmm.
10, commerce and trade, and you go on and on. Number 13, title 13, contracts, right? 14, corporations, partnerships, and associations. Title 15. 16 is crime. 17, criminal procedure, right? I could scroll. I'm not going to go through them just like that, but just to give you guys a synopsis. Title 36 is what? Local government. Title 28, General Assembly. Title 44, property. Inside the titles, you have chapters and then the section. Are you with me?
Yes. So Justia has more of a thorough breakdown than any other site, like as
But
it relates to like definitions and
it carries the definition, but it might not list the outside title as a caption for you to know exactly what's there.
okay.
Title 48, revenue and taxation. And if you know, like I know, foreclosures, evictions, everything is actually, all of these charges are, that's the agency that is supposed to be regulating the statute in relation to those actions. Since the use of the property must be for some business. State government, torts, right? Waters of the state, ports, and watercraft. Title 53, which is the final, wills, trust, and administration of estate. No, not many people would actually start at the very genesis, but it was in the beginning, don't it?
It was in the beginning.
General provisions.
Mm-hmm.
Now take a look at this. It says, Chapter 1, the enactment of the code or of code, section 1-1-1. The statutory portion of the codification of Georgia laws prepared by the Code Revision Commission and the Meachie Company pursuant to a contract entered into on such date is enacted and shall have the effect of statutes enacted by the General Assembly of Georgia. Right? So it was a contract that was entered into for publication. This company does the publication. The Michi company. Now, there's a certain section in the Code of Federal Regulations that all of these contracts, they are supposed to be under a contract to enforcing a statute, because what might not be known to us is that it's all executive procedures. And anybody that is implementing statute, it's Title 48, I forget the exact caption, but it talks about contract terms and condition. They must have be some party to a contract to enforce a statute. Now, think about like even the Chevron difference that was just overturned by the Supreme Court. Like once you hear of a statute, as I'm saying, it has to do with an agency, it's administrative. Even though they try to make it seem as if it's criminal, it's an administrative procedure by one of the executive department, and it's only limited to the agents, licensees, and contractors, right? But enough of that. I'm just bringing to your attention that this is the caption. This is the title of what you call OCGA, Official Code of Georgia Annotated, right? Now, the legislative intent, and this part is very important. Title 1, Chapter 1, Section 2, legislative intent. What is the legislative intent of the enactment of OCGA? It says, the enactment of this code is intended as a recodification, revision, modernization, and enactment of the general laws of the state of Georgia, which are currently in force, and is intended, where possible, to resolve conflicts which exist in the law. You see what it's saying? It was the enactment of this code is intended, where possible, to resolve conflicts which exist in the law. And to repeal those laws which are obsolete as a result of the passage of time or other causes, which have been declared unconstitutional or invalid, or which have been superseded by the enactment of later laws. Now, what are some of the laws that they are enforcing now that are highly unconstitutional? Forced labor. Forced labor.
Yes.
Forced labor is unconstitutional. Slavery and involuntary servitude, right? And I'm saying this against the background that something that is important that most of our people are missing, and it's proper comprehension of volunteer and consent, those two terms. Consent. In Title 16, there is a definition for with consent and without consent. It's very important, consent, because without consent, if a duty is demanded or one is commanded to perform a duty, was there a consent given? Express consent? You get what I'm saying? Was there consent given in order that would make the person binding without being forced against their will?
With the driver's license?
Huh?
Well, can you say the question again?
No, I'm asking if one is being forced to perform functions, I'm saying it like this. If you are forced to perform functions of public office without your consent, what does that? What is that?
That's slavery, involuntary servitude.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, and that's unconstitutional.
Unconstitutional. Yep.
So think about it from the standpoint of having a notice sent to demanding your one's appearance before a court.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. But let me read this part again. Greetings, Mopad. What's up, brother? The enactment of this code is intended as a recodification. I like reading it like this. The enactment of this code is intended, where possible, to resolve conflicts which exist in the law. And if someone is bringing a charge against you on behalf of the state for which they are looking to prosecute, given a custodial sentence or any type of charges in relation to the seizure of property and levy of property, right? What are our legal defense in preventing these state actors from going against the legislative intent right here? Because it was intended, right, where possible, to resolve conflicts in the law. So why can't we use this to resolve conflicts in the law? If it is that there is an allegation that you owe, if it is that there's an allegation that you are in default, if it is that there's an allegation that for you are speeding. You get what I'm saying? Tell me if I'm losing you guys. I need to hear.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. You ain't lost me because it's like you make it clear as day. You know, the fact that unconstitutional, what's unconstitutional is just kind of breaking down, you know, the fact of why we shouldn't be getting charged or why we shouldn't be getting summons
Yeah,
because all of that
yes.
is forced
This,
labor.
the statute, it should not be used to cause harm
Right.
against anyone of the people. But I am assuming the reason why it has the reason why it continued to happen is maybe we don't realize the conflict that exists
Mm.
in order to use the code to resolve such conflict. And I am reading these statutes, right? And realizing that, okay, this section here, general provisions, there are other sections just talking about the general statute here, but I'll leave section 1 and I'll go to, chapter 1 and go to chapter 2. Now, I'm kind of going into a little bit of where the conflict is, right? Classes of persons, section 1-2-1, right? Classes of persons generally. Natural person, defined. Corporations deemed artificial persons. Nature of corporations generally. And look what the statute is telling you plain as day. It's telling you that there are two classes of persons, right? Natural and artificial. Natural person means any human being, including an unborn child. So, as we were talking earlier, any human being, if a duty is being forced upon them, right? If they are being forced to perform against their will, what's that? Forced labor, slavery?
Yeah. Human trafficking.
Because since your time, your talent, and your treasure are your property, so we need to find out who is this natural person and what it is that can make a human being being forced against their will. If you choose not to participate in a game, what can you hold me down to play the game? Mopad, jet lag.
Yo,
What's up, bro?
nothing much. Just listening because it's taking it in one day at a time.
Say no more. So, corporations are artificial persons. They are creatures of the law, and except so far as the law forbids it, they are subject to be changed, modified, or destroyed at the will of their creator. So you recognize that artificial persons are created by people. Now I want you guys to make a proper distinction here. Natural and artificial. Natural person. It is telling you here that any human being, and I found out that majority of the state statute will list it like this. But if you should go to the federal statute, not the federal statute, but Cornell law, which is the Department of Justice, right? What it's telling you here, natural person, a natural person means a living human being. See, it's almost like this. You see?
Yeah.
Right? But guess what it says? Legal systems can attach rights and duties to natural persons without their express consent. What gives that authority? Legal systems can attach rights and duties to natural persons without their express consent. Now I'm going back here. Where is it that the express consent was given? When we are being demanded to attend court, we are being demanded to perform functions of public office or any task against our will. No. Remember, we were talking about the statute, the enactment of the statute to resolve conflict that exists. So, in continuing, right, it talks about categories of natural persons. Natural persons are categorized according to their rights and status. You have citizens, citizens of the United States, but not of the state, and aliens. But I'm not going too heavy on this because, like for Georgia, I'm showing you the trap, right? When you go for the driving license, it says like this: by checking one of the following boxes, I swear, according to a certain Georgia statute, that one of the following is true. And you have citizen, legal permanent resident, alien. And you got to check one. The moment you check one, you are automatically categorized among these classes of persons or class of persons that only represents or is statutorily defined in the federal statutes and some states too as a business. And because on the application, you expressly stated that you are the person giving this information, but guess what? You did not know that when you told them that you are the person, you were telling them that you are the natural person who is operating on behalf of this legal entity, which is a class of corporation. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. I hope you guys were following me where I came to section 1-3-3, right? 14, person includes a corporation. No. Any questions? Let's not hold it.
No, it's kind of given like plain as day that it's just it's like manipulation, you know what I'm saying? So on a federal level, it's clarified, but then on the state level, they try to mask it and kind of blend it so that, we don't really, if you're not conscious, you just kind of just merge the two. So I get it.
Great. And you see what it says there? It says person includes a corporation. Now, when these statutes were drafted, so to speak, as I'm saying, the purpose of the enactment is to resolve the conflict that exists in the law. And the conflict that exists is the statute is being misapplied upon a person that they are presuming that one is actually the person. So, in addition to breaking down, this includes a corporation according to the principle of statutory construction, right? Whenever you are reading these statutes and this word include or includes pops up, it is telling you here a well-established canon of statutory construction, inclusio unis exclusio alteris, provides that the inclusion of one implies the exclusion of others. And this is something that I use at all times in all my documents. If it is that I'm doing a document that is not for Georgia, then I'll find, well, this is a Supreme Court decision, so I could use this in any case, any state, whatever. But it's letting you know right here, only corporations can be persons. Corporations, let's take corporation here and do this and type. Synonyms for corporation. Look what coming up. Company, firm, business, concern, operation, agency, office, bureau, house. I'm wondering why this is here. Guild, institution, organization, trust, partnership, federation, right? You see what's happening? Firm, business. So the moment that thing is registered, it's being grouped. Corporation, it's a wider term that it encompasses all artificial entities in their different variation. Are you following me?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, yes, yes.
So what I'll do, I'll go back over to this screen here. And as I was going down, I go back out, right? Construction of statutes generally. I went to the definition section in chapter 3 just now, right? All interpretation of statutes. The courts shall look diligently to the intention of the General Assembly, right? And remember, the enactment of the code is what? To resolve conflicts that exist in the law, keeping in view at all times the old law, the evil, and the remedy. There is always a remedy. Keeping in view at all times the old law, the evil, and the remedy. The evil, like when they say necessary evil. I realize it works. Some say it's a balance in the universe, however it is interpreted. But it says again, all interpretation of statute, the court shall look diligently for the intention of the General Assembly. Now, if the General Assembly says person includes a corporation, in addition to that definition, it's telling you here also that Sorry. There are two class of persons. And even the Supreme Court of Georgia, in its opinion, said that they only recognize three class of legal entity, of which natural persons are one of them. So we ask the question, how is it that a natural person, or what is a natural person? And I'm saying it is the man who, accordingly to this section, OCGA 5036-1, it's captioned verification purposes, procedures and conditions, exceptions, regulations, criminal and other penalties for violations. Look what it says. As used in this code section, the term 1, agency head means a director, commissioner, chairperson, mayor, council member, board member, a sheriff. Agency head. Note this. The sheriff is considered to be agency head or other executive official. Remember, I was saying earlier it's an executive statute or executive agency in relation to the statute, whether appointed or elected, responsible for establishing policy for a public employer. Establishing policy for a public employer. Now, look at agency or political subdivision. Look at this term because this is the one why I came here. Applicant means any natural person 18 years or older who has made application for access to public benefit on behalf of an individual, a business, a corporation, a partnership, or other private entity. I read it again. Applicant means any natural person 18 years or older who has made application for access to public benefit, but not only that, on behalf of one of these class of persons. Now, look what's included in the definition of a public benefit. Quandalin, you want to read for me?
Did you say my name?
Yes, yes. I asked if you wanted to read at least some of these definitions. We could call them. You could read from public benefit.
Public benefit means a federal, a state, or local benefit which shall include the following. Adult education.
Yes.
Apprenticeships. Authorization to conduct a commercial enterprise or business.
So yes, so you see that say public benefit. You see this? It's a public benefit. The authorization to conduct a commercial enterprise or business is considered to be a public benefit, which is really privileges that one license can be taken away. Now, I'll continue here. Business certificate, license, or registration. Business loan, cash allowance, disability assistance or insurance, down payment assistance, energy assistance, Food stamps is considered to be public benefit. A gaming license, grants for education, grants for business, health benefits, housing allowance, grant, guarantee, or loan. It's a public benefit. Why do we need a benefit for a housing allowance or a loan? Why is it that it is required then that you go through their procedure? Loan guarantee, Medicaid, occupational license, professional license, note the distinction, public and assisted housing, registration of a regulated business, rental assistance or subsidiary, retirement benefits, state grants or loan, state issued driver's license and identification card, tax certificate required to conduct a commercial business, temporary assistance for needy families, unemployment insurance, welfare to work. You see what it says right here? Where is it? A driver's license? A state issued driver's license. When you go down to the Department of Driver Services, you tell them on the form that you are the person giving the information and the information is true and correct. And according to this statute, you swore as an applicant to be a natural person applying for a driver's license on behalf, which is a public benefit, on behalf of one of these class of persons. Now, what's interesting is that the Department of Driver Services is not able to provide the record. They are not able to provide the record. They are just not able to provide the record on whose behalf it is that one may or may not have applied for access to public benefit. Right? Are you guys with me? Any question?
Giving it to us giving it to us in a digestible way. So
Yeah.
Huh? Listen, you know.
definitely, like,
Gwendolyn,
Here.
any questions?
No questions. I'm following what you're saying.
So one of the things that I normally do is pen a record request to the Department of Driver Services, which is defined as an agency. And because one did make an application, you request the record. And there is a procedure that you can do a record request according to their own rules, right? Yeah, this one. I hope this letter finds you well. This correspondence is an official record request. After carefully reading the statutes, one realized that pursuant to this section, an applicant means that who has made an application for public benefits on behalf of such, whereas a public benefit means that in that section, a state or local benefit, whatever, right? I'm letting them know, requesting the record, including but not limited to the name, address, and date of establishment of the individual, business, corporation, partnership, or other private entity behalf the undersigned applicant may have applied for access to public benefit. Now I share this again with you guys. Reading these statutes carefully, notice what it said here. Or other. It has a group of things here, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, then you see or other private entity according to the principle of ejus dem generis, right? It says, when a statute, and this is similar to the inclusio unis, we're including it's a limitation if you're reading it from a legal document. But what ejus dem generis does, it says, according to the principle, when a statute or other document enumerates several classes of persons or things, and immediately following and class with such enumeration, the clause embraces other, person, or things. The word other will generally be read as other such like, so that persons or things therein comprised may be read as ejus dem generis, with and not of a quality superior or superior to or different from those specifically enumerated. This rule is well established in this state. This is a Georgia appellate decision I use in documents also, but for proper comprehension, again, I'm saying this is telling you that apples, bananas, if they're saying fruits include apples, bananas, oranges, and mangoes, right? If it's not, it's or other seeded fruit, that means it must be something along the line of a apple, banana, mango, or whatever, must be of the same class and kind to meet this requirement of ejus dem generis. So this is where we're talking about we are not the class of persons, because when you look in title 16, right? If we go to title 16, or it could be any title. If we go to title 16, which is the crime and offenses, most people are charged under this section. Look at the definition of persons. It tells you here, and it even defines agency, that you must be operating or acting on behalf of an agency as a natural person. An agency or a department, a commission, a committee, some entity, a bureau. Remember, we look at the synonyms of a corporation, right? You get what I'm saying? You must be acting on behalf of some entity, private. Remember the definitions, applicant or other private entity? Yeah. So when you look at the definition of person, it means an individual, a public or private corporation, or an incorporated association, government agency, partnership, or unincorporated association. So according to the principle of ejus dem generis, we didn't see the term includes here, so we are going with ejus dem generis. The caption defendant, if your name is on a document, it could be reasonably argued that the caption defendant is not among the class of persons enumerated according to the definition 16.1.3.12. Yes, 16.1.3.12. Right? If it is that we are, it's for a traffic citation, you go over to Title 40. What it says over here in Title 40, it's telling you again that person, according to this section, Title 40, right, literally means, who want to tell me?
Got
Nobody?
you. I got you.
See what it says? Person means every natural person. But remember, in order for you to be a natural person, according to the definition of applicant in Title 50-36-1, in order to fulfill, without any doubt, the definition of a natural person, it must be clearly established the entity that one is acting on behalf of. If it is that you are alleged to be owed a debt, you sign a contract, It was signed as a natural person because if you read the federal statute, it tells you that a consumer is a natural person. But when you look, there is no entity that the consumer is acting on behalf of. In many instances, we believe it is something we are doing in our own or for our own pursuit of happiness, like acquiring shelter, a house, acquiring a transport. I'm saying it's a commercial term, but just a typical transaction to acquire an automobile, a car, right? How the transaction is designed, you must first be a person in order to be qualified for the contract to be enforced in a proper court. So I'm not jumping the gun, but what I'm trying to get at is that the thing that's called unconscionability in all aspects, even the very driver's license application, it was unconscionably done procedurally. And the way out is looking at mistake because it did not express your intent, but you have to be sincere inside your spirit to recognize your own errors. Because we're talking about a legislative intent and the enactment of the code is for what purpose again? Who want to tell me?
The enactment of the code?
Well, yeah, the legislative intent of the enactment of the official code.
For employees and the enactment of the code was, it was for the, I guess for the unconstitutional and invalid.
You're close, is intended where possible to resolve conflict. So how can they use the code? How can they use a statute to bring harm when the legislative intent expressly state? So we need to learn how to hold these title, what is it again? Title 45, these public officers and employees. We need to learn how to hold these people, public officers and employees, these judge, attorneys, clerks, bailiff, sheriffs, everyone. It's possible, but we must first comprehend that the class of persons that they are allowed to interact with and under what circumstance. This is another section that I would read some other time, right? The governor, the attorney general. Title 23, equity, right? Grounds for equitable relief, mistake. Mistake of law in instrument by contracting party. Mistake of law in instrument by agent. A honest mistake of the fact, a honest mistake of the law as to the effect of an instrument on the part of both contracting parties when the mistake operates as a gross injustice to one and gives an unconscionable advantage to the other may be relieved in equity. So when you go at a closing and you acquire a house, not recognizing that you are not the borrower, you are not the borrower as the attorney's complaint is stating. Defendant is a borrower being indebted to this entity. Recognizing the definition of borrower, that it is a person, and according to the statute, we understand what person mean, and because it did not express our intent, we can seek equitable relief in the nature of what is called a mistake. But like I say, you have to be sincere in recognizing your own mistakes. I'm talking mine too, okay? And let me know if you guys are following me. Pretty please. It sounds like I'm alone over here.
This is a good section though. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you like I'm sitting here
I'm
reading
just
it.
like, wow. Yep.
You have never read this one, Elijah?
Nah, but I like what we always be talking about unconscionable, and then they used the word in here, so it's like I see the correlation now, like
Connection. Yep.
Yeah.
BMW, black man working.
So this one right here on my document, and this is the one that I love. Mistake of law. A mistake of law by the draftsman or other agent, because the attorney who drafted those documents for all the agencies, especially the DDS, right? A mistake by them to say, okay, you swear according to this, because I'm looking at it from the standpoint that we will both agree that it's a mistake, or sorry, I'm saying a mistaken identity or identity theft. But it says a mistake of law by the draftsman or other agent by which a contract, as interpreted, executed, does not fulfill or violates the manifest intention of the parties to the agreement may be relieved in equity. So when you went and did that application for the driver's license, because it was unknown to you that you're doing so on behalf of some entity, and there is no record of the entity, for that matter of fact, I am calling it a mistake, and hopefully the agency are able to agree. If they fail to agree, it's a damn well identity theft. And what we must realize is that in addition to that identity theft, that 18 USC 1028, identity theft, 1028A, aggravated identity theft, when these attorneys bring a claim before the court on behalf of any legal entity alleging that the name has committed or is obligated to, we must give notice to the effect that one is not among the class of persons promulgated in the definition of the statute that implicated the case. So if it is under Title 16, we go to Title 16 and look for the definition of person. If it's Title 44, there is a definition there for person. If it is that there is no definition for person there, remember at the genesis of the statute that sets the tone, it tells you what a person means, and it should be interpreted with that consistency unless otherwise stated. But this aggravated identity theft now, whoever during and in relation to any felony violation enumerated in subsection C knowingly transfers, possess, or uses without lawful authority a means of identification of another person shall, in addition to the punishment provided for such felony, be sentenced to a term of imprisonment of 2 years. Use, use. Use, it says. But the thing about it is that notice must be given first. Notice must be given first in the spirit of Matthew 15:18. If your brother sins against you, you go tell him in private. And if he refuses to listen, you tell it to the church. The church is the court with your witnesses. They move on further to say you treat him as a pagan or a tax collector, right? But anyway, any questions again? Because I might not even go up until 10 o'clock. I really just wanted to share.
Yeah.
some of that with you guys for clarification for that matter.
Well, you did that. I mean, because at the end of the like with everything, it all when you look at this like the word person root in so many different things, and it's like so crazy how we like come back to the original, like the beginning, and it all started at the beginning, like with just that word, like, and it like sparked everything else as far as with like just having a way to combat that we are not amongst that class of
A person. Say that. Because listen, when you study so much different stuff, and it's like you get to this king right here, it's like it's just so simplified that you kind of just be like, you know what I'm saying? Because it really just root from just really classifying yourself correctly and giving them notice that So yeah.
like for real. Like I get what you're saying. That's how I feel too. But I'm like, damn, I've been around talking to so many different people, and it was literally just this simple. Like,
Right. That's what, because it's hard. It's like not hard, but it's like when you be studying so much and then you get to him and it's like he don't want to hear nothing else about nothing else that because he already got it's like it's a one size fit all because it don't matter if you getting charged with a citation on a traffic stop or a criminal citation, it still classifies under a statute. So it's like it's really a one size fit all with the breakdown that he's teaching. So yeah, salute to the wise man. I call him.
Wise
He's
man, you go.
wise man. Because
Hey, good.
man.
Hey, welcome, Corey.
well, go on.
You're missing a greater portion. You're
He just
missing a greater portion, brother. But welcome. I know you could have been elsewhere, but I'm just taking the time out.
Gratitude.
What we look at earlier, really and truly, is going over sections of OCGA. I'm gonna come back to this on screen here. I'm just briefly kind of recapping a little bit, right? We looked at OCGA from the genesis of the statute. We went through a few of these titles, just looking at the caption and that kind of thing. But what's important here that I want you guys to take home is the legislative intent of the enactment of the code OCGA. And it says again, this is a repetition. The enactment of this code is intended where possible to resolve conflicts which exist in the law, right? I chop it like that, and then I say, and which have been declared unconstitutional or invalid. I just take it out like that and put it in my documents with proper punctuation to let them know that actually it's an excerpt from the legislative intent. Because if the legislative intent is to resolve conflict that exists in the law, and the conflict that exists, how do we bring to the court's attention the real conflict? What we identified or what it should be argued in mentioning the legislative intent, if we're talking about the conflict, is to bring to the court's attention that according to the definition of persons, right? Person includes a corporation. According to the statutory construction and interpretation, in order for you to be a person, you must be what you call a natural person, which is defined here as any human being. We went further to look at the federal version that says it's a human being, but legal systems can attach rights and duties to natural person without their express consent. We also looked at what is the presumption that consent was expressly or presumed to have been given. And we went to a certain statute, OCGA 50-36-1, where it says the natural person, right, is the agent, the natural person, chapter 36, is the applicant, who is any human being, right? Any human being who has made application. The moment you make that application, you are telling them that you are no longer a man, but you are a natural person and you're doing this on behalf of some entity. So we were really moving into another aspect in relation to the construction or a guide to interpreting and applying statutes. Right? I'm gonna share this document with you guys, but the part that I really wanted to go to, right? Let me find it. Commonly used terms. Yeah, you will see this is a great chart, right? The part that I really want to go, legal, let me tell you, agency interpretations, no, presumption against change in common law. No, it's called relevant canon cross-reference. Nope. Presumption of consistent usage. Presumption of consistent usage. And what it's really referencing, and it's good, it is good to use these principles in your document, because if we are saying that if in the genesis of the statute, the Congress expressly or the legislature expressly defined persons of a particular definition, right? It is presumed to bear the same meaning throughout the text, unless it is expressly defined elsewhere. And the best argument to make is that according to the designation of a borrower, the designation of a citizen, the designation of a resident, the designation of a natural person, the designation of an employee, the designation of the term you, the designation of the term individual, the designation of the term real property were all set aside for specific purpose. And that purpose is for what you call taxation, according to Title 48. And if you think I am making a mistake, let's take a look at this natural person here. Look what it says a natural person is. This is the revenue, the tax code. Look what it says a natural person is. Sorry, an individual is a class of person. An individual is not a man or a woman. It's a designation. It means a natural person. And again, the natural person is acting on behalf of an entity. So when we are being referred to as individual for tax purposes, filing income tax for revenue, remember, it tells you that the labor of a man, which is 15 USC 17, it tells you, according to Title 15, the antitrust laws, it tells you that the labor of a man is not an article or commodity of commerce. And remember, according to the definition, only persons, they recognize only two classes of persons. So because we are identified, or our identity is being misidentified against a government record, the presumption is being drawn that one is an individual. Remember now, this individual here is included in the definition of persons according to the federal tax code. When you look at 26 USC 7701, it tells you that a person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, or other, or corporation. And remember now, we are saying that we are just not among the class of persons. And what we are using the principles of the statutory construction. When they say the defendant is a resident, the defendant is an individual who is a legal resident, all these terms are business terms. So we're looking at it from a standpoint of the attorney is misleading the court in making these legal presumptions, right? These legal presumptions for which there is no admissible evidence. So it's really a presumption. And it tells you here in one of my favorite studies, right? Whenever circumstantial evidence is relied upon to prove a fact, the circumstances must be proved and not themselves be presumed. So when they say defendant is the borrower and the borrower is indebted to the plaintiff, and the borrower, according to the definition, is a person who such and such, it's misleading because the record does not reflect that. And even if it does, from the mere presumption, we are saying that it has its genesis. We are bringing to the court's attention that there is a material error located on the record, and it has its genesis in the application according to OCGA 50-36-1, where one's identity is being misidentified or mistaken. It did not fulfill your intention, because what law said you must use a number and do all these kind of things to get shelter. It was an inducement into a commercial transaction, and you had no knowledge. There was no mutual assent of the terms and conditions that allowed you to enter into the transaction. And as I'm saying, you could always cry mistake or unconscionable contract. Because how is it unconscionable? In Georgia, like other states also, it said that it must be procedurally and substantially. And if it is that only certain class of persons are allowed to be in the transaction according to the definition of the statutes that govern, notice they always say the contract makes the law, but they didn't define it in the contract. But the statute that govern the agencies and the agencies and its employees, or the transaction itself, regulate or dictates or the applicability in relation to the terms. I'm sorry, guys, but that's where it came to an end, okay? It is in my best interest that I will be providing more content of this sort to bring awareness as we're all dealing with issues. And it is through a proper comprehension and being able to articulate the best argument as opposed to their assertions and bare presumption that we are this person that they can regulate and make rules for. Okay? So again, leave your comments, share your opinion, and tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. And I look forward to speaking with you another time. Peace out.